All right, Hamilton Elite, we're here with Max Wurzburger. He's the assistant coach and recruiting coordinator at Montclair University. It is university, right? Not college.
University, yep.
Yeah. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself, your school, and your program?
Sure. First off, thank you, Bill, and Hamilton Elite FC for for the whole interview and wanting to grow a little bit more recognition on Montclair State and the program. And obviously, these are tough times for everybody. So I hope everybody's safe and healthy. And I know for a fact we'll all get through this. And we'll get back out onto that field and playing in no time. So thank you again for taking the time. A little bit about myself. My name is Max Wurzburger. I am the assistant coach and recruiting coordinator at Montclair State University. Grew up in North Jersey in a town called Glen Rock. I played for their high school team on the varsity level. I also played for PDA's Academy when I was in high school. And then post high school, I decided to continue my career and go and play at Montclair State. So I was a four-time player for the Montclair State Redhawks, all 4 years. I had an unbelievable 4 years there. And when I got done playing, the coaches expressed interest in me to go and join the staff. So I immediately joined as soon as I got done and graduated at Montclair, and I've kind of been there ever since. I had a little stint at Mount St. Vincent College. I was the head coach there for a year in 2017, but then came back to Montclair for some other reasons that I don't want to mention on here. But I had a great time at Mount St. Vincent. I learned a lot as being a head coach, and now I'm back at Montclair for the past 2 seasons. This was going to be my third upcoming season as the assistant coach. So that's a little bit about myself. In terms of the school, we have roughly, I'd say, 22,000 students, 20,000 undergraduate students, 2,000 graduate students. We're the second largest university in the state of New Jersey, right behind Rutgers, New Brunswick. We're the third largest Division III school, I believe, in the country. So we're a very unique university when it comes to Division III athletics. We have over 157 majors that you can choose from. I think our top majors are business, education, criminal justice, and communications. And we recently just built a new nursing school, so that hopefully that attracts more nursing majors to Montclair State as well. But that's kind of the gist of it for the university.
Okay. Could you tell us a little bit about your coaching style and what your soccer team is about?
Sure. So I think I didn't mention the program itself, which I'll get into after I talk about my coaching style. But for me personally, I would say that myself and the coaching staff at Montclair have very, very similar coaching styles. I think that's why they asked me to hop on board. But as it's different for me with coaching styles because I also coach at the club level. And I think that from talking to some of my colleagues and my mentors, that you have to have different coaching styles when you coach at the club scene and when you coach at the college level. At the club scene, it's all about, developing players, building relationships, helping kids grow as human beings, not just as soccer players. Whereas the college game, it's all about winning. It's really what it comes down to. You get paid by a university to win soccer games. So I'd say my college style is definitely different from my match fit style. But it's kind of up in the air. I don't really have one specific coaching style. I think that every kid reacts to different styles and different approaches. And, so you have to kind of just do what's best for the kid and do the best possible job that you can in relaying what type of message you're trying to get through to your kids. So that's kind of the best way to put it in terms of my coaching style. Me giving instructions to a kid and having him, do what I ask him is kind of the approach that I like to take place.
Okay. Good. Could you just kind of clarify a little bit more about the program, the schedule, things like that, practice schedules and things of that sort?
Sure. So the program itself, obviously, which I didn't mention in my first answer, I apologize. But the program has really taken off over the last 15 years. And it's a credit to Coach Todd Tumulty, who's the head coach, and some of the other assistant coaches, and our newly appointed athletic director and Rob Chesney. They've done a great job of building the foundation of the program, and I'm just lucky to be a part of it. So over the last 15 years, we've had unbelievable success. I mean, we've been in the final of the conference tournament, I think 10 out of the last 14 years, and we've won the conference tournament 8 out of the last 14 years. So we've done really well in the conference in competing for the NJAC tournament. And if you look at the NCAA tournament, which is everybody's, what everyone has their eyes on at the end of the season, we've been to the NCAA tournament 13 out of the last 14 years. We've gone to 1 Final Four, 5 Elite Eights, 6 Sweet 16s. So the program has been in full stride over the last 15 years, and it's been a really great run. In terms of an everyday life, for the soccer players at Montclair State, we usually have training in the mornings from 9 to 11 a.m. It's something new that we've done over the past couple of years, and it's something that I think that the program has really taken pride in. It gets the guys up for the day. They get into training. They get their rehab or their treatment done right after that, and they go to class for a couple hours. So it's really like a 9-to-5 job in the fall for the men's soccer players, being that they have training, then they have to get treatment, then they have to obviously eat and hydrate, and then get to class. So that's kind of the everyday life in the fall season. In the spring season, it's a little bit more tempered. We have a little bit more downtime for the student athlete to get their academics done, and we have probably 15 days of spring practice and 1 day that they can compete in games where we will compete against another university. So the downtime in the springtime, is obviously taken back a little bit as opposed to the fall semester.
Okay. I know obviously this recruiting year is going to be a lot more challenging than previous years, both for coaches and the recruits themselves. What are some things that can relieve some of the stress that a lot of these juniors and seniors that aren't even signed and we're relying on the spring season? What are some of the things that some advice you can give to them?
Yeah, I would just say don't panic. I mean, everyone's going through this. Every kid's in the same boat when it comes to juniors and seniors. But it's such a crucial time for these kids and their development and, trying to get to the college that they want to get to. There are pluses and there are negatives to this whole experience. And I think a couple things that the potential student athletes, I should say, have to take away from this is, like I said, they're all in the same boat. So for the uncommitted seniors, it might be beneficial to them because, a college coach is trying to get down to their final numbers for the fall and their roster. If they have their eyes on 4 or 5 kids and you are one of those kids, say one of them is an international student. One of them is a kid that lives in California and your school's in New Jersey. That coach might not be able to get to see those players because of this whole pandemic, and it might free up some availability for the current New Jersey resident who's trying to go to Montclair State, for instance. I'm just using it as an example. The negative signs, obviously, are that we can't see them play in person, which hurts because obviously coaches, a lot of their opinions are based off of games that they play, and you go and watch the potential student athlete in person. So that hurts, but on the flip side of it, this is a great time. If you have any film possible, I would send it over to the college coach or any coach that you'd like to go to, any school that you'd like to go to. Sorry, and that way he can see you play and pick up on some little things that he might want to bring into the program. So it's a tough time, but my main point of to all the juniors and seniors and even some sophomores is just to not panic. Keep going about your everyday life. Keep focusing on your studies. Keep focusing on your family and staying healthy, and everything will play out the way it's supposed to. Just stay healthy, stay positive, and keep an open mind. Yeah,
it's definitely good advice. How many freshmen do you recruit per season or per year?
So it varies. It really varies over the course of the years. It all depends on how much we lose. For us at Montclair State, we get quite a bit amount of transfers per year. So say we get 2 or 3 per year. That adds to the number that we've brought in for that class. So say you bring in a freshman class of 5 guys, and throughout the years you pick up 1 or 2 transfers each season. So that number could get up to 10. So it varies each year, depending on how many we get to graduate, depending on who comes in, depending on who leaves and transfers out. But any class could be anywhere from like 4 to 13, depending on what you really need. So it's a hard question to answer. I know this year for our 2020 class, we're probably at around 12 or 13 now. And we're wanting to bring in a little bit more, I'd say around 15 or 16, only because we graduated 13 seniors this past fall, and we lost 2 to transfer. So this class is going to be a little bit bigger than in years past.
Okay, gotcha. What do you guys look for when you're recruiting a student athlete? And what are some of the things, follow-up question is, what are some of the things that kind of turn you off about about certain athletes as well?
Sure. Very good question. And it's a very important question to relay this message out to all of the potential student athletes. For us and for me, I think, and this is something that I've learned from a couple of mentors of mine, being a well-rounded person is way more important than anything else. I think that if you can be a really good obviously being a good soccer player always helps. It draws the attention. It draws the attention of a lot of coaches. But soccer is a game of opinions. You could have a really good day on one day, and then the following week a coach could see you play, and he might not think that you were great that day. So it's really a game of opinions. But when it comes down to us at Montclair State, being a well-rounded person is a key factor, as well as being a two-way player. And what I mean by that is you have an ability to get forward and attack, and join the attack and link passes and score goals and create assists and all that stuff is great. But if you can also defend, get behind the ball, win tackles, be a complete two-way player, both offensively and defensively, those are really hard to find. And those are kind of no-brainers for me. I think those are really, really, really important aspects that we look for at Montclair State. Being a well-rounded person and being a two-way player are 2 big things that we look for.
Okay, and the follow-up was what turns you off?
Right. So going into that point, some things that turn me off when I'm trying to recruit a player is the coach-to-player relationship that they have with their current club team or their current high school teams. We talk to a lot of club coaches. We talk to a lot of high school coaches, especially the kids that we're recruiting. So if they tell us that the relationship hasn't been great or he's hard to coach, he doesn't want to listen to anything that we say, that's kind of a turnoff, as well as parents and social media. Those are 2 really big things. Kids don't really understand that we can see all their social media platforms, whether they are whether they have their page restricted or not. We'll find a way to see them on social media somehow, whether it's through the club scene, whether it's through their friends, whether it's through hashtags or stuff like that. So my advice to current high school students and players that are looking to play in college: make sure that your social media pages are clean. And it's everything that a college coach wants to see. Try not to put anything stupid onto those social media pages, because we'll find it, we'll see it, and it'll hurt your chances of playing for us at the next level. And then the last point was parents. I love my club parents to death. I know they can be a little bit much, and parents want to always have a say in things, and they want to cheer for their kids, and that's great. But if the parent is doing all of the work for their kid, or he or she is a how do I say this in a nice way, is a little obnoxious on the sidelines, or they're having a lot of conversations between myself and the coach with them, it can be a little bit messy. So I try and always tell my club guys to have the parents stay out of it as much as possible and focus on the player to coach relationship. Because that way, when he gets to college, you're going to be dealing with him 24/7, 365 days out of the year. You're going to want to know all the ins and outs and what his pros and cons are and how he handles things. So it's better to just have the parents stay out of it. If they want to ask certain questions about the university and the program, that's completely fine. But try and do your best to have the kid to player relationship the most important part.
Good advice. What do you expect from your players after the season ends, the off season? What do they typically go through? Is it the season's over and they go home, they can relax, or is it regimented? You got a program in place afterwards?
So every college program is different, whether it's D1, D2, D3, NAIA, JUCO. Everyone's got their own regimens and different, stuff that they do in the off season. In a perfect world, I would love for my student athletes, and I know Coach Tumblety will think the same thing. We would love for them just to stay focused, stay focused on soccer, academics, and family. We get that college is a unique experience, and there are other curricular activities that can go on. But we really try and focus and send a message to these guys that you're here for a couple of reasons. You're here to help us win ball games. You're here to get a degree and to have fun. But we want the first two aspects of that to be the most important thing. And that's getting a good education and focusing on your soccer career. So in the off season, we'd love for guys to stay in shape, follow our workout packets that we give to them. Focus on their diet, focus on a healthy lifestyle. So that way when they come back into camp the following year, they're bigger, they're stronger, they're faster, and they have a better overall mindset of what college soccer really brings to the table. Like I said before, we understand that there are spring breaks. We understand that there are summer breaks, and we live in New Jersey, so there's time to go to the beach and express themselves in different categories of life. But, in a perfect world, if we could have them just focus on soccer, family, academics, all that stuff, that would be great.
Sure. Just the last question. When a player commits formally with you guys, and you guys agree to have a commit, what is the process like from that point? What happens?
Sure. So D1 and D3 are a little bit different. So at the Division III level, schools are permitted to use a standard signing form. And what I mean by that is, how Division I universities, they have a national letter of intent. So that's kind of what makes it binding at the Division I level. At the D3 level, we have a form. It's called the celebratory form. So when we get a kid to commit, he can sign that form. He will then need to apply to the school, be admitted, and then he will then need to deposit into the university. So once all those three things are done, he signs his form, he deposits into the university, he gets accepted and gives us a commitment. So I guess that's four things. He is then pretty much locked up into coming to Montclair State University. But it's not binding. So that being said, he can also, if he chooses to, explore other schools in the meantime. It's really just the verbal. But at the Division I level, if you sign that national letter of intent, then you're binded to going to that university. So there's a little bit of a different scale when it comes to Division III and Division I and the signing windows and what we have to offer. So.
Okay. Do you have any questions for us at Hamilton Elite, or?
I don't really. I've always been interested in recruiting some of the kids from Hamilton. I know that you guys are in the same area as MatchFit. So, I've watched a couple. I think I've watched a couple teams play here and there. But I'd like to express, my interest even more. Hopefully, when this is all said and done, we can get out to some EDP tournaments or some of the local tournaments that you guys are in. And I'd love to come see you guys play for sure.
Yeah. All right, Max. I appreciate you giving us some time, and be sure to we'll post this online, and be sure to follow us.
Sounds good, Bill. And if any of the guys from your club, or even the females, if they have questions about Montclair State and the two programs, I'd love to help out in the future any way possible.
All right, will do. Thank you very much.